are up for debate, Alexis. Insufferable fan bases. I don't know how you came up with some of these. I mean, obviously some of them I do, but what was your decision making behind selecting, was it Chicago, Dallas, and Pittsburgh?
Correct. Yes. And it was tough to pick because a lot of you really be getting on our nerves all the time. And Jesse, I know you kind of brought up the idea. We were tossing around some team names or fan bases, and those were the three I ended up going with. I feel like Chicago, just because they've tortured the Wild in the playoffs, that's it. And they've had Kane and Taves and other great names throughout history. They're pretty insufferable. Dallas, I would say, is more specifically insufferable to Minnesota fans because of the North Stars beef. Like, I don't think other fan bases probably find the Dallas Stars fans really annoying, but I think
Tampa does. Like, I see a couple, like Tampa really doesn't
after
like
last
them.
year.
They can be, like, I think there's some animosity brewing there a little bit.
Yeah. So I was like, maybe other teams, fan bases find them annoying, but Minnesota fans specifically, we always got beef with Dallas.
Especially as of late.
Yeah, especially as of late. Yeah. Maybe it was just a little recency bias in my own brain for putting them in that one. And then last but not least, Pittsburgh. I feel like everyone will agree with that one because like they have had superstar after superstar after superstar. And it's like, okay, let's just calm down. Just like hold your horses. Everyone settle down. We get it. You've had some superstars. You don't need to rub it into the rest of us. But yeah, those were the three that I went with. I suggested Golden Knights. I think they're a little too cocky fan base for their own good right now.
Like you can't really have a Golden Knights fan base though, right? Like, I don't know. Like, I think that's the truth. I was like, I don't know. I think Colorado has been real. Like, I don't get them as much, but I know Michael Russo talks about how awful the fans are to him, like how he has to block on literally Twitter, every Avalanche fan because they're just ruthless.
See, I feel like with Colorado, and maybe this is just me, but like they're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Like there's the really, really good ones who are like reasonable and they're like, yeah, like we've got good players, but like whatever. And then there's the like Nathan McKinnon, Dale McCarr, we're the best, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, all right, you guys need to calm down. The rest of you can stay.
True.
But yeah, and Wild have had some really good playoff series with Colorado. So I think Wild and Minnesota, or Minnesota Wild and Colorado Avalanche fans get at it after each other. But yeah, those are kind of the three that I went with. The funniest part about this tweet that we put out, which Jesse, I know you saw this too, was the guy who was like, what about Minnesota fans? And then he was like, oh wait, you're a Minnesota podcast. Yeah. He's like, never mind.
My bad.
And I will say this, like the thing about calling fan bases insufferable and like being annoyed with fans, I truly don't think that you can say Minnesota Wild fans are insufferable. We have nothing to brag about. Like, how?
Yeah, but we like to brag about how awesome we are, and that's just Minnesotans in general, right? Like, it'll be very passive aggressive. It's like, well, yeah, but you have a Minnesotan on your team, or how about the Mighty Ducks? Like, we're super cocky when it comes to hockey, right? And we have every goddamn right to be because we're very good at hockey in this state.
But when it comes to like accolades, like we're like, we have one division that we won. And then if you'll notice, we have our fan of 18,000's banner hanging. So shout out to that.
Yeah.
But no Stanley Cups, not even a Stanley Cup appearance. We don't have any players who have, jerseys retired or anything. And it's just like Kirill Kaprizov is truly the first like superstar that the Minnesota Wild have had. And so it's like when people say that Wild fans are annoying, I'm like, how? Like, what do we even complain? Like we are swimming in our own misery. You can't say we're annoying.
Right. We just don't have a leg to stand on, but we're still going to try to be like better than you, I think sometimes. So I suppose I could see that. Like said, my favorite chirp I heard back from somebody when I was talking about the Calder, and it was a Dallas fan. He's like, don't you have a first round to go lose? Or like whatever.
Oh no, that's that.
Yes. Well done. Well played, fans. That's what's so great about being fan bases.
Yeah.
I would say out of those three options, again, of Dallas, Pittsburgh, and Chicago, I got to go Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago's the one that you'll always see. And I think it's because one of my good friends is from Chicago. Like, he'll always wear his Blackhawks jersey to any Wild game, even when they're not playing the Blackhawks. I'm like, we're not even playing Chicago. Like, take that off. You look like an idiot. Like, I hate people wearing jerseys that have nothing to do with the teams playing.
Yes.
Except a Mighty Ducks jersey, because that's cool.
Well, that's acceptable.
Yes,
yeah.
But so I got to go Blackhawks. What do you think?
I probably would have to go Blackhawks too, just because like as a child, they like tortured me. Like I hated the Detroit Red Wings for a while. That I had a lot of beef with the Red Wings until they moved into the Eastern Conference because they tortured the Wild. And then Blackhawks fans, when they won those 3 cups in 5 years, I was like beside myself. Yes. I was like, I need to see a therapist. Like I'm not okay. Like Blackhawks fans are already too cocky. They've got Kane and Taves. Now they've got 3 cups in 5 years. I literally can't say anything to them. They'll have a comeback for everything. And so they, to me, are the most insufferable fan base. But I do think it's, as they've kind of gone through their rebuild, I've started to shift away from like despising them.
I
like,
wish we could play them more like this year, because I could just chirp. I'm like, you guys suck. Like, you're not good at all.
With Kane and Taves still. Well, Taves isn't playing right now, but yeah.
Did you hear the Blackhawks song that came out? You were young, because I was still a senior in college when they won in 2010.
Oh God.
It's a song about how nobody knew about the Blackhawks and nobody gave a shit until they had won. And it goes, we love the Hawks and we always love the Hawks. We just learned about the Hawks this year.
Yeah.
And like, it's so brilliant, because it talks about, he's like, we don't know anything about hockey, but Chicago all of a sudden loves the Blackhawks. And it's like, I feel like a lot of those fans stuck around for a while too. That always kind of irked me. It's like, you don't even watch hockey. Like, what are you talking about?
That was like the one thing I could say to Blackhawks fans that I had any like thing to stand on. I was like, okay, name someone from 5 years ago. I dare you. Name 2 people from 5 years ago. You can't. Like those. Yeah, because they started to pop up here and there where it was like, you don't know anything about hockey.
Anything. You don't deserve to get this joy.
You can't say my team has this many cups. It's like, it's not your team. You just got here. Like, just you bide your time like the rest of us. All right.
What's icing?
Yeah.
Come on.